silver light, her wings reflecting 100 colors of the sky. Raniel could only whisper, "Who are you?" "I am Avalora, guardian of the enchanted realms," she said, her voice like wind through crystal. "I have tested many. Even your brothers failed. But your kindness has opened the path no sword could." Raniel bowed deeply. "Then I am grateful beyond words. My father is dying. Please, if there's any way, tell me how to find the roses." Avalora looked at him, her expression softening like clouds before rain. "The black roses grow beyond the edges of light. No mortal can reach them. But because you gave without expecting, I will help you. Stay with me for 7 days. I will send my spirit servants to fetch them." Those 7 days were unlike any he had ever known. Avalora's palace shimmered in colors that changed with her mood, sometimes golden, sometimes pale blue like the sea at dawn. She moved with a kind of quiet grace that made even silence feel full. At first, they spoke little. But as the days passed, words began to flow, not like questions and answers, but like shared thoughts, quiet and easy. Raniel found himself drawn to her, not because of her beauty, but because of her stillness, her depth. She was both light and loneliness, ancient and fragile, and when she smiled, something in him softened. One evening, beneath floating lamps of silver flame, she told him, "My father wished me to marry long ago. I refused all princes who came. They spoke of crowns, not hearts. I have waited centuries for someone whose soul was kind before it was brave." Raniel met her gaze. "Then perhaps we waited for each other," he said quietly. She smiled, but her eyes glistened with something like fear. "You will leave, won't you?" "I must," he said, "but not forever. I promise, when my father lives again, I will return to you." Avalora touched his hand, her fingers cool and trembling. "Then I will wait, even if it takes a lifetime." And though neither spoke again, the air between them held everything words could not say. On the 7th morning, her spirit servants returned, carrying the black roses, their petals dark as midnight, glowing faintly like stars trapped in shadow. Raniel thanked her, and when he looked back one last time before leaving, Avalora stood on the balcony, her hair flowing like mist, her eyes following him until he disappeared into the horizon. When he reached home, King Corlin lay pale and still. The roses were crushed into a potion, and as the petals touched his lips, light returned to his face. The illness vanished. The bells of the kingdom rang all day. When Raniel looked at his father's smile, something inside him broke softly, relief, gratitude, love, and beneath it all, a quiet ache for someone waiting far away. 2 months later, his brothers returned, worn and empty-handed. When they heard how Raniel succeeded, even their pride fell silent. King Corlin listened to the full story and then placed a hand on his youngest son's shoulder. "My child," he said, "you not only saved my life, you taught your brothers and me what true strength looks like." He smiled faintly. "Let us go meet this fairy, who saw what I always knew was in you." And so, they went, through forests now green again, rivers now calm. At last, they reached Avalora's palace. When she appeared, she smiled not with surprise, but with the quiet knowing of someone who never stopped believing. When Raniel stepped forward, she whispered, "You came back." He smiled. "I told you I'd find my way." Their wedding was held beneath the moon, where black roses bloomed white that night for the first time. The air shimmered with music and wind, and when they danced, it wasn't a royal celebration. It was two hearts meeting halfway between worlds. And when people later told the tale of King Corlin's sons, they didn't speak of swords or kingdoms. They spoke of the youngest prince, the one who gave his food to a stranger, and found love that even magic could not create because it was real. For kindness, they would say, blooms where nothing else can.